some of the hickory nuts are already starting to fall even though it's still summer. The three guys that had warned Mr. Preston not to trust Big Jim came in on a stagecoach from Bristol. It wasn't called Bristol then. They saw Big Jim standing there with a knife, a bloody knife, because he'd been cutting up chicken in the kitchen, over Mr. Preston laying there with his throat slit open. Who are they going to think just murdered Mr. Preston?
Big Jim.
Who would you think did?
Big Jim.
I would. If he were my best friend. Big Jim and I probably would have been real good friends, but I would have thought, Big Jim, why? Why'd you do it? Now, you have, in America, as a citizen, you have a right to a
Trial.
a trial. Did slaves have a right for that?
No.
No.
No. And he knew that. Big Jim was smart. Couldn't read or write because it was against the law to slip, but plenty smart. And he dropped the knife and he ran. He knew to stand there and say, but sir, this is chicken blood, and because they already had hate in them, those three people. Big Jim was smart enough to know that. And he ran back through here, ran to this cave. And the whole time he ran, who gonna take care of my baby boy? Who? That's all he's worried about. He knows he's gonna die. I guess he tried to live a little longer. He hid in this cave. And there was thousands of acres of plantation here. Asia Malone says she thinks she had an ancestor that lived on this plantation. She said she's pretty sure. One of the hollers over here, I forgot what I said 2 weeks ago, but she said that's where my ancestors came from. But anyway, he went into the cave, and those three men came up. Did they think they were doing something good by hanging him?
Yes.
Believe it or not, they did. If you asked them, they said, we're teaching slaves not to rebel against their owner. He murdered Mr. Preston, who trusted him, who loved him like a son. And have you ever tried to do something you thought was right? Do you think their hearts told them it was wrong?
Yeah.
No.
I'm betting it did. I'm betting it
Well,
did.
yeah.
It's hard to do something like that. But their minds were telling them, always listen to what's right in your heart and you'll turn out all right. Listen to God. He'll speak to you. They hung him. Now, he was powerful, so he hung a while. They tied his hands behind his back. He probably could have killed one of them at least, but he didn't want to do that. He was a gentleman, and he knew he was done for anyway. Oh, they tracked him by bloodhounds. A bloodhound can smell 1,000 times better than us. They would have known to find this. They went by his cabin. Slaves had little low cabins, and got his clothes to find Big Jim. It wasn't the dog's fault. He was just doing what he was trained to do. They tracked him here. They hung him, and they laughed about it. Said, we're going to show everybody Big Jim's body. And after a long time, maybe a half hour, he wasn't dead. And they had some mercy. Everybody's got a mercy point. I've taught at the jail 25 years. Most people down there are actually pretty nice. As nice as your mom and dad, nice as me. But every once in a while, I'll meet a real mean one. But everybody has a point that you can reach and get them to show mercy or show love if you just find it. So they said, we got to cut Big Jim down. We got to go kill him immediately, not let him suffer. We'll shoot him through the heart or something. When they went in, there's a rope, Savannah, a couple of years ago. It's gone now. The Boys and Girls Club looked last week. It's not there. It was swinging, and nobody was in it. Now, they tied him up real good, and he'd laid there for almost an hour. Not laid there, but hung. Listen, here's what they heard. They didn't hear birds singing. They heard this. Who gonna take care of my baby boy? Would you get out of that cave fast?
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
I'd be like,
You might not.
I'd be like,
I
bye.
actually might not. I would probably, because I didn't, now if I were them, I would. They just murdered me.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
But if it was me, I'd probably, Big Jim, is that you? I probably would.
Big
wait.
Jim.
But if you were those guys that murdered him, I'd get out of that cave fast. They did. The legend started. It lasted for years. It got lost over time. It got lost. And when they were cutting down these trees 40-some years ago, see the chainsaw mark by Zoe back up a little bit, honey. They were cutting on that tree. Eb and Bert, they were two old loggermen up here. I'll try to sound like them. Eb says, Bert, I heard an owl in that there cave. Bert says, ain't no owl in no cave. Bert says, Eb says, I heard it. Listen. They heard down there. Who? Let's go investigate. So they went and investigated that cave. They went in there, and it's cold in here. Alex, don't let him pull you in. And
Pull me in, right?
listen, you'll hear it. Listen. Savannah, see if you hear it. I just hear birds. And when they got in there, they heard who.
When I go in there, maybe I'll hear it.
They came out of there. Now, is that story 100% true?
No.
Yes.
No.
Actually, it's not.
Oh,
Some of it is.
I cry.
But the best stories. Did you know Jesus made up 72 stories that aren't true?
Yeah.
What?
Parables. And I
What?
had a kid say one time Jesus lied to tell the truth. Well, he didn't really lie. He didn't lie, but he did make up stories. I made up that story to show how horrible slavery is. How horrible.
It's made up.
Well, there was Mr. Preston. This was a slave plantation. His favorite slave was named Big Jim that cooked in the kitchen. Thankfully, he wasn't really murdered like that. Thankfully, but it went on thousands of times across the United States. Stories that were true, exactly like that. A lynching. You'll like this part. This is the funny part. That part's pretty serious, and but you'll still go in there and think you hear a voice. If you get it on your mind, you'll think you hear it. I had a friend where I teach the jail. His name was Antonio Morris.
What's he saying?
He looked about like LeBron James. This was 10 years ago. He got in trouble in South Carolina. A big, young, strong African-American man. He should have played NFL football or something. He come to Bristol. Listen, you'll face this. I promise you'll face this. If you're the best kid you've ever seen in your life, you're going to face this. He sold a little drugs. Like, did you know Damon Dock?
Oh.
Did you know Damon? You'll be tempted with it. One of the best kids ever, Damon, got the wrong way. But I've had a bunch of them go. But most kids I've taught turn out fine. But you'll be tempted to smoke cigarettes, sell drugs, do something dumb, drink a bunch of beer while you're underage. Antonio came to Bristol to sell some drugs. He knew he could sell it here. There was a drug ring here, and just enough money to help his grandmother. His grandmother's dying of cancer in South Carolina. He had a cousin here. I could tell you his name, and you'd know too, Alan, I'd say. But he had a cousin here, and they got some money to pay his grandmother's electric bill, pay her rent while she was in the hospital. He was doing it for a good reason, but was he doing the right thing?
No.
No, and I talked to him about it. I talked to the men about that in jail. Guys, don't do it. Like if you tell a lie to help somebody, that lie's going to come back and haunt you. Oh, it's going to haunt you worse than any ghost you ever. Even if you do it for a good reason. So just tell the truth. People like the truth. They'll forgive you. If you get in trouble. In my class, are you ever in trouble if you tell the truth?
No.
Never. I don't care. Chandler Anna learned that. She would tell me anything. Yeah, I just pulled somebody's hair. Okay. Well, then we'll work on it. We'll maybe go apologize to them later or something. I said, Antonio, you're doing good. You're helping me with men teaching GED. You'll like this story, and then we'll be done. This is the best. This is my favorite part. This is 100% true. I talked to Judge Flanagan, who is not a judge now. He's retired. Judge Flanagan, he was a good man. I said, I could go to him with an inmate and say, this inmate's trying. Can you reduce his sentence? Well, give me some evidence that he's trying. Well, I had plenty of evidence. Evidence from Sheriff Weisenberger, several people. Antonio would help me teach. He was smart, really smart young man. He just dropped out of school. Guys don't drop out of school. That's their mistake. Almost everybody sitting in that jail dropped out of high school. 90% of them. None of them went to college, probably. They're graduated. None of them. Because poverty will make you do strange things. It can make you get desperate and steal. If you want out of poverty, it's easy in America. You just work hard and go to school. And I never want to be rich. I just, I didn't want to live in poverty. But some of you live in it and don't even know. Bless your heart.